Continuing today with the chapter 18, the cave. And we spoke before that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he asked us to read that chapter every Friday to protect us from the biggest trial, biggest tribulation of the false Messiah. And when we go deeper into that chapter, we will go on to understand that these trials, which is the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ talked about in his hadiths, in his narrations, are very simple for somebody to understand. That somebody is going to tell you, I can as a human or as a entity or whatever, I can bring your father back, or you just like in common sense you can't even believe that. But at that time, people will believe it. That time, people will think that this is a God, and we want to understand why is that? Why is people sometimes fall into these trials, these tribulations, these like we say, these easy things which to grasp, but at the time they fail to recognize that this is wrong, and this is a manipulation, and this is complete unjust, complete untrue. We'll come to the four principles and four foundation which this surah is trying to establish. The foundations are Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He, as in the beginning of this ayat, in the beginning of this surah, he said, Alhamdulillah, Allah. So the first thing is the false Messiah, or these trials and tribulations will come with the false Messiah, is trying to frame his trial around that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not human. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not human. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he has no offspring. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not like a human being. So that is what is the trying to, for example, in Christianity, in other religions, they're making their gods. Some of them have the God as a sun, some of them have as a moon, some religions have the God as a statue, some religions have a God as a cow, whatsoever. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the beginning he said the Antichrist or the false Messiah will try to make himself as God by saying, I'm as a human. So number one is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not a human. The God is not a human, and God, you cannot compare him to humans. That's number one. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, number two, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is able to do everything and anything at any time. The human has limitations. They cannot do, or they can do certain things. So the thing is lack of belief in the Subhan. The word Subhan means complete. Allah is complete. Allah is perfect. Allah's attributes is complete, perfect, continuous. There's infinity in them. They are established until the day of judgment and beyond the day of judgment. He's not limited like humans. So the person who has limitations, or the person who will think that Allah is limited, the person who will think like Allah has deficiencies, and the person who will think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is the problem, that the false Messiah will come, like what we see right now, we see people are dying everywhere. People are dying in Palestine, people are dying in Gaza, people are being killed, people their hands are chopped, their legs are chopped, they're having all this stuff going. There's so many atrocities, so many genocides going on, and people are, where's God? Where is the creator? And from there, the Antichrist will say, oh, yeah, they probably know there's no God. Okay? So that foundation, you have to understand that God has wisdom. Your ability to comprehend God is limited. You're not going to be able to comprehend why God is doing things the way He's doing them. And one of the important things, He showed us this in the story of Moses. He showed us that the Moses and the Khidr, the three stories, He showed us if He doesn't, make a hole, for example, I'm going to mention one. If He doesn't make the hole inside the boat or inside the ship, the tyrant king, will capture that boat. Okay? So Allah has a wisdom. Why these people are happy? Why? We have to remember one thing. This life is a test. الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عمل. He created death. He created life and death to see who has the best action. Who has the best action among you? Who would be worthy of the paradise and who would deserve the hellfire? So number one is Allah, number one, and this is what's going on right now. Where's God? People are asking, where's God? Why is God doing this? You are limited human being. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again and again and again in the Quran, as a human being, you're nothing. Just to try to worry about yourself. Worry about where you are. Worry about what you're supposed to do. That's number one. Number two, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the same surah, الذي أنزل الكتاب الحمد لله الذي أنزل الكتاب. The second foundation which a Muslim or any person to be saved in the hereafter, we said before, we made the conclusion is you have to believe in the Quran, you have to believe in Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, last messenger, last prophet. There is no, there's no anything which will protect you from the hellfire if you don't believe in those. The most important thing which you need to understand also, the second thing, which is the false Messiah will come, he say, oh, this book is made up. This book is not true. This book has Muhammad wrote it. This book, a lot of people, and you see on the internet, you see on YouTube, you see that, this and this, and the claims about the book of the Quran. Number one, a lot of people who don't really understand Arabic language, and they think they know it. They don't understand how to, what is the meaning, how these words are constructed. This book is a miraculous book in its formation, in its design, in everything. I don't want to go into details because this is going to take but what is important is, as a believer to be saved, number one, we said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he has to know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a superior, he's controlling everything. Number two is, this book is a book which is a guidance to the human being until the day of judgment. There's no about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said, we have sent down this, inna nahnu anzalna الذكر وإنا له لحافظون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, we have sent down this book and we are protecting, and we protect this book. So what that means? Means that this book, nothing will be changed, never been changed. 100% that what Allah wants you to believe in. Okay, so anybody is going to come and say, oh, this and that, don't believe him, because this book is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the words of Allah, the only book on earth which is 100% authentic from the divine, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number three, which people will try to attack, alhamdulillah alladhi anzala ala abdi. So we said Allah, the kitab, the book. Number three, abdi, the Prophet Muhammad. If they fear if they fear to attack Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then if they fail to attack the Prophet, attack the book, the Quran, they're gonna come the third, the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam. You'll see all kind of accusations, false accusations. So false, so kind. Oh, he wasn't. He's this. He's his. Unfortunately, all these people, they don't understand that the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, he was the most honorable person who stepped on this earth. They don't understand his character. They didn't know how he dealt with others. They didn't know how simple, how humble, how believer he was. So anybody's gonna come and tell you this prophet, your prophet did, Muhammad alayhi salam did, don't believe. This is the third thing that Dajjal, the false Messiah, will try to do. Number 4, which is a very important also, if you see after this, وَيُبَشِّرَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. He the one who, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the same surah, in the first ayat, in the first few ayats, يُبَشِّرَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, the believers around the Prophet. If they failed Allah, to attack Allah, if they failed to attack the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if they fail to attack the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam, then they will come to the companions. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, they're going to come after Umar radiallahu anhu, they're going to come after Uthman radiallahu anhu, they're going to come after Ali radiallahu anhu, they're going to come after those and will say that these people, they'll try to make false accusations that they didn't believe, they didn't do, they did that. Try to get yourself. Why is they trying to do this? Because they will say, oh, those people, they have Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam, they had the Quran in front of them, and they had disputes. They didn't believe 100%. They didn't believe 100%. They didn't have a complete belief. So why should you? Islam didn't change them. Islam didn't do anything to them. So why should you? That's another door of the Dajjal, another door of the false Messiah, another door of their trials, the doubts. Because as you see in the ahadith, the narrations of the Prophet ﷺ, when you read them, you say, oh, how come? How come people believe this? How come people will follow this false Messiah? It's very obvious that he's a false. But when you are inside the tribulation, when you are inside the test, and you have doubts, the doubts are within these 4. Number 1, Allah. Number 2, the Quran. Number 3, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Number 4, the companions around the Prophet. If you have any one doubt about those, because these are the foundation, there is a way. When you have a crack in the foundation, the building will collapse. You will believe anybody, even if he's false. And this is what time is. You see on the internet, all kind of accusations, all kind of people who really know nothing. Know nothing about Prophet Muhammad. Know nothing about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Know nothing about the Quran. Know nothing about the Sahaba. Or even they know, but they pretend that they don't know. So they can hold and they can target the believers. They can target the youth. They can target the people and tell them, oh, you're following something which is wrong. You know, so trying to put the doubts in your heart. So we have to confirm and affirm that these foundations are firm and 100% correct and proven correct, and they will stay correct until the day of judgment and beyond the day of judgment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam, the Quran, and the companions. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم.